Welcome back. We have breaking news this morning from Moderna. It is getting its new flu vaccine back on track, with the FDA now agreeing to review its application. The stock right now is up 4.5% as a result. This follows a meeting with regulators, the FDA accepting Moderna's biologics license application for its mRNA flu shot. The company proposing full approval for adults 50 to 64 and accelerated approval for those 65 and older, all with the required post-market study. The FDA's decision date coming now August 5th. Joining me right now with more on the news is the president of Moderna, Dr. Stephen Hoge. Dr. Hoge, great to see you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about that. What changed in your discussions with the FDA to help you move this forward and get this back on track?
Yeah, so maybe a little context. This started really as a discussion with the FDA 5 years ago. We've been working on bringing forward a new, what we think is improved influenza vaccine. And as you do in this industry, you work closely with regulators before starting big investments in things like phase 3 studies. As you know, these can take well over $1 billion, and there's a lot of scientific risk. And so what you want to do is make sure that you're aligned with your regulators before you move forward. We did that in this case 2 years ago with the FDA, designed that phase 3 study, and agreed on the comparator and what we would need to show superiority. So when that study result came in a year ago and we demonstrated the kind of statistical superiority that really we think is best in class, we were really excited and went forward with the submission of that BLA. It came out of the blue then 2 weeks ago when we were notified by the FDA by a letter from Dr. Prasad that they wouldn't even initiate the review, something that really doesn't happen where you've agreed up front with all of the phase 3 trial design requirements. Now, the good news today is that after 2 weeks of further consultation with the FDA, they have agreed to initiate that review after we proposed a couple of modifications, and as you just said a moment ago, after we committed to conduct some post-approval required studies to really confirm the results from our phase 3.
So is there anything else that you needed to do? Because obviously when you first started these discussions, it was a different FDA.
Yeah.
Now you've got President Trump's FDA. And so did you do anything more to this application to change the FDA and get it to review it?
So we actually had discussed this even with President Trump's FDA just 6 months ago, and they had agreed that we could go forward with the submission and review. So it really was a big surprise even just in the last month or two. Now, in this case, to your question, we did agree to add an additional post-marketing requirement study, one we will do if the product is approved. But the good news is now, following those consultations with the FDA right now, we do hope that the product will be approved in August of this year, and that means that seniors and Americans will have access to a new option to protect themselves against influenza, which we all would agree is something we need to do better against.
So if you are getting the approval at the end of the summer this year, how soon before that product is on the market?
We're aiming for this fall,
okay.
And so for this coming winter season. And we think it's essential because there are some real challenges with the current ways we make influenza vaccines. Most people don't know that 96% of the influenza vaccines we receive are actually made in eggs, which normally most years is okay. But because we make them in eggs, we have to pick the strains as early as February. And what that means is about half the time, we pick one of the strains in the influenza vaccine wrong. And about half the time, the way the eggs make the vaccine components actually leads to what's called an egg adaptation, a mutation in the vaccine. So that means that oftentimes the vaccine we get in the fall, because it was picked in February and made in eggs, doesn't quite match what people would want it to be in the winter. And that's where mRNA and new platforms really offer an opportunity to improve upon that. Because we can pick the strains as late as May or June, as we've been doing for the COVID vaccines, which leads to a better match, we hope. And if that works, we hope that will lead to better efficacy and effectiveness in the real world.
Now, by the time you heard from the FDA, you had already scaled back investment. I want to talk about that because Moderna's scaling back investment in its new late-stage vaccine trials over these regulatory delays that we're talking about and this skepticism that could be coming from the FDA over vaccines, frankly, and uncertainty around access to the U.S. market. So tell us about that. Is it harder to put new money down in place when you've got these uncertainties in terms of what the regulatory process may be?
Yeah, it's exactly right. So we're, as you know, these are really long investment cycles. I mean, oftentimes 10 years to bring forward a new medicine or cure, and well north of $1 billion, $2 billion to run those pivotal studies. What we need are clear and transparent rules from the regulators, clear objectives that we're aiming at, and we need those consistently applied. What we can't have is somewhat arbitrary changes to those rules after the game has been played, because that will really make it harder for companies, including Moderna, to invest in the next big billion-dollar attempt to bring forward a new vaccine or a new medicine or a new cure. And that plays everywhere. It's not just in vaccines. As you know, we're working right now in cancer very aggressively. And we similarly, as we did in the flu vaccine case, we seek guidance from the FDA and regulators about what they want to see. We really need to be able to rely on that guidance and that it won't change year over year over time as we move forward that program.
When will you start getting back to where you were in terms of investment?
Well, it'll take some time. I mean, at this point, we are waiting to see a little bit more stability in some of the guidance that we're receiving around investment in vaccines. We also want to mature our business. I mean, to be fair, it's no longer the time that it was a few years ago during the pandemic, and we're looking to drive towards break even in the next year or two with our vaccines business before we then start reinvesting in new vaccine trials.
I want to get back to cancer in a moment because this is something that our audience cares deeply about, and as do I. But it's all the more extraordinary to see what happened during COVID when you say something like it takes 10 years to actually get a vaccine on the market. And your scientists were able to get the COVID vaccine on the market in how long?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
10 months, yeah.
I mean, we were in a crisis situation. I always applaud your engineers and your scientists for the rapid response there. But let me ask you, because there were other medicines to take, but the Biden administration was canceling everybody who talked about anything else. Is that because in order to have a vaccine on the market within a year, that you had to prove that there were no other cures, no other medicines to apply to COVID? Was that the reason that they were telling us don't take anything else?
Yeah, so I can't speak to what their intentions were, the Biden administration, but I can say from a vaccine perspective, we did need to show that there was a really high unmet need. And that wasn't for us, that was for public health officials.
Exactly.
And so President Trump's Operation Warp Speed really created the framework for that moving forward. Now, you remember they were making investments at that time in therapeutics and treatments and other preventatives as well. Vaccines were just one of the many tools that they were moving forward with. It was the one that got there first and most successfully, obviously, as it rolled out around the world. But it's important. You said the thing you said a moment ago about 10 years in work. It's important to give credit where it's due. There was a tremendous amount of work beforehand. In fact, even President Trump in 2019 signed an executive order calling for the modernization of vaccine manufacture, particularly flu vaccine manufacture, and to move away from eggs. And some of the work that was done there and supported by that executive order ultimately made it possible a year and a half later to be moving quickly with the COVID vaccine.
All really important points. Let's talk about cancer and this incredible success that you've been having. I know you're talking about melanoma, but Moderna and Merck reported this positive 5-year data from the personalized cancer vaccine trial. The vaccine used in combination with Merck's Keytruda reduced the risk of recurrence or death in melanoma patients by 49% compared with Keytruda alone. Both companies advancing multiple late-stage trials across several tumor types. Dr. Hoge, congratulations. This is wonderful news. Tell us about the impact.
Yeah, this would be, we think, a dramatic change in the way we treat or prevent cancer. And it starts with skin cancer, with melanoma, as you just said. Approximately a 50% reduction in the rate of relapse or death. That's now through 5 years. That's the phase 2B study that we ran a number of years ago. But we've been working hard with our partner Merck to fully enroll the confirmatory studies. That phase 3 trial actually is expected to have its first interim readout to potentially the middle of this year, which is incredibly exciting. And it's just one of really multiple different tumor types that we're moving forward in. We also expect and have fully enrolled studies in renal cell carcinoma as well as bladder cancer. And then we're looking at phase 1 results in pancreatic cancer and gastric cancer. So a tremendous amount of data coming in the next 12 months, we hope. And we hope it will continue to confirm what we've been seeing from that phase 2 result, which means there might be a really profound change in the way we treat cancer going forward.
Wow. And I can tell you for sure, I know our entire audience and everyone watching is rooting for you on this one and hoping that you continue to see that kind of success. We spoke with your CEO, Stefan Bancel, last week on the program, 2 weeks ago, and he talked about where the growth story is at Moderna, and I want you to tell us a little about that. Here's Stefan with me just recently. Watch.
Most of the growth this year in 26 will come from growth international. In the US, we expect the market to be similar to what we saw in 2025. But in the international market, especially, we have a very long-term partnership in Canada, UK, Australia. We've done also a lot of partnership in Latin America, in Asia. And so the growth of a company will come from outside the US and also from launches of a product that was approved by the FDA last year in the US with a full year impact in 26. So it's going to be an exciting growth, full of momentum for us.
And of course, Moderna just topped fourth quarter expectations. Revenue, $678 million in sales, reporting a loss, but the loss smaller than expected. The company also reiterated the outlook for up to 10% revenue growth this year, targeting about $4.9 billion in operating expenses. How do you keep expenses down while also trying to grow and get back to profitability?
Yeah, so it's about maturing our business. We've been working hard on controlling costs. You mentioned a moment ago, we had to go through a pretty dramatic change as a business to scale up and address the pandemic requirements. We were producing 1 billion doses a year at tremendous cost. And so we've been working to lower that cost and refocus all of our investment now into R&D. What's driving growth right now is those investments. And so we're launching new products in the United States, hopefully a flu vaccine this year. But we have an enhanced COVID vaccine. We have a combination vaccine that we expect to see hopefully approved this year in Europe, and many others. And we're expanding internationally, which is really a terrific story. It's we're an American-made company. We're based in America. We manufacture here, and we're starting to see this tremendous international growth with demand for our products. As we look to the mid to long term, it is things like cancer and some work we're doing in rare diseases, and particularly the individualized neoantigen therapy that we're bringing forward that we spoke a moment ago about melanoma, which would really be a pretty dramatic change scientifically.
In terms of international, you received European Commission approval for the new COVID vaccine, the third authorized vaccine in the EU. This launch is also important, and as we just talked about the international story, is that the growth that you're looking at this year and next in terms of international? And your manufacturing use here, and is that for drugs here, and do you also manufacture in Europe for that?
So we manufacture here for Europe, but we do have facilities in Canada, in the United Kingdom, and Australia that are driving expansions of those markets. Most of our growth, as you said a moment ago, this year is international, in fact, all of it. And as we look really over the next 2 years, we expect that to continue to be the case for us. It's really 3 years out with new product introductions in the United States that we expect to see growth returning here.
Dr. Hoge, when will we get another update on the flu vaccine?
Well, we hope we'll continue to move forward over the next number of months. The approval that we'd be hoping to aim for will be in August. That was the action date issued by the FDA. But the most important thing to look for over the near term is, can we continue to look at ways that we can improve the matching of the vaccine? Not just because ours isn't made in eggs and doesn't have that mismatch, but also because there are different strains circulating in America than are circulating in the rest of the world. One of the things that's not always understood about the manufacturing systems that currently exist is that the WHO picks a vaccine composition for everywhere around the world. But this year, the United States will move in the direction of starting to choose its own composition and strain. So the U.S. government will select a matched vaccine for Americans. Now, it may or may not be different than what the WHO selects. But what we hope to do with our vaccine platform, in particular in flu, is support the U.S. government in making sure that if there's an American-made vaccine, it's also made for Americans, designed for the strains that are circulating here.
Really important point. The U.S. and the WHO, World Health Organization. Thank you for that. Dr. Hoge, it's great to talk with you. Thank you.
Great to see you as well.
All right, Stephen Hoge here from Moderna, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.